bless you. This is the Reverend Dr. Gilberto Rosado. Dios lo bendiga. Este es Reverendo Dr. Gilberto Rosado. Welcoming you to another broadcast. At this hour, we have our bilingual broadcast, our teaching in English and Spanish. So we ask that you be patient as we translate live on the fly between languages. Esta es la hora que damos la enseñanza en inglés y español y pedimos que tengas pues paciencia mientras que traduzcamos de un idioma al otro. Aproveche y aprende el otro idioma. While we're at it, you can learn the other language as well. Es un beneficio de sintonizarse con nuestro ministerio. It's a benefit, an added benefit I should add, of tuning in to our ministry. Bless you. Dios le bendiga a todos. Sorry about this little delay this morning. It's not morning any longer, but it looks like Facebook was causing some problem in the network. It wasn't going out to Facebook. Tenemos problema con Facebook y tenía que poner el enlace de YouTube on there so that you guys on Facebook can tune in, otherwise find me. But ahora en Facebook enlace para YouTube, así que pueden verlo allí. Estamos en Roku again, and Amazon Fire TV as usual. Estamos en Roku y Amazon Fire TV. Okay, so today, God bless you and welcome once again. Welcome to our show, and I'm very happy to say hello to everyone and welcome you to a wonderful teaching. Listen, today we're going to get more into this Sabbath and the moon issue, and particularly into the Hebrew calendar. Hoy vamos a entrar más en detalle a la situación de el sábado, la luna y también el calendario hebreo. Hay a lot of assumptions are being made, hay mucha asunción, asumiendo mucho hacen la gente y no investigan las cosas. Of course, los que investigan estas cosas son hebreos o adventistas o otros que son ya dedicados o determinados en observar o guardar el sábado, pues entonces tienden a buscar excusa apologética para su creencia en vez de aceptar la verdad que se ve claramente. So what we have is that we have people who usually study these types of issues, like the Hebrew calendar or Hebrew, right? Who else is going to? Puerto Ricans will be studying that. Who's studying Hebrew calendar stuff? Hebrews and those people interested in keeping the Sabbath and all of that, right? So when they do this research and they discover certain what you call the inconsistencies, instead of accepting inconsistency as part of the truth solution set, those of you who are mathematicians understand that what I just said, right? They begin the apologetics. Apologetics is defending the belief in light of obvious issues. Así que vemos que cuando empezamos a analizar los datos del el calendario hebreo, del origen, de los problemas que hay en el sábado, o sea, la calculación del el sábado desde el principio y cosas así, inconsistencias con la ley, la luna, todas esas cosas. Entonces, como los que están estudiando esto son básicamente los que están creyendo en guardar el sábado y, y las cosas hebreas, ¿no? Defienden las cosas hebreas, no hay nada malo en esto, pero así hay malo cuando entonces se ignora las inconsistencias y lo claro que Jehová expone las cosas en su palabra y se ignora para entonces usar lo apologético, o sea, la defensa de lo que se cree, en vez de aprender de Yahweh. Y estamos hablando, el problema aquí es que no se está dejando que Yahweh explica las cosas, que Yahweh demuestra. Si no se entiende lo que él dice, pues por lo menos vamos a ver lo que demuestra. Y no se está dejando demostrar ni siquiera. Esto no es asunto de Gregorio, de romano, mentalidad romana o hebreo. Eso no tiene nada que ver. Lo que tiene que ver es lo que Jehová dijo y lo que no dijo. Como demuestra Jehová sus verdades. Eso no tiene que ver con ningún apologético, ni ninguna religión, ni debate, sino dejar las cosas que caen como caen. Y eso es lo que Dios quiere, eso es lo que Dios puso, pues entonces no vamos a estar dando excusa para Jehová. Que no es para Jehová, es para nuestra propia fe, para acomodar nuestra fe y hacer excusa para Jehová. Jehová no necesita sus excusas. Lo que necesita es que tú crees lo que él diga, que tú aprendas de lo que él está enseñando. Eso es todo. You know, we tend to, what we see is that a lot of people are giving excuses for what for what omissions that Jehovah didn't say. But since your religion, your faith needs this reasoning, we begin to accept and parrot apologetics or excuses, defenses for why you believe the way you do. But that's not what Yahweh said. And it's not what Yahweh demonstrates in his word. But you guys need to say it and look at it that way in order to give your belief some support. You know, why don't you just admit that your belief is wrong? That's it. Why can't we admit when we're wrong and move on to truth? ¿Por qué no podemos admitir cuando estamos equivocados y seguir hacia la verdad? I mean, are we, what is this thing? Are you trying just to defend a religious belief or are you trying to find the truth? ¿Estamos tratando de defender una religión o estamos buscando la verdad? So again, can't you see and be honest with yourself that you're covering up and making excuses? And by the way, making Jehovah look like he don't know what he's doing, just so for the sake of you feeling that you're right. Estamos haciendo que Jehová se vea, ¿cómo se dice?, débil o equivocado por culpa de que tú tengas la razón. Eso es, oh my goodness, it's just getting sillier and sillier. Esto se está haciendo más y más, ¿cómo se dice?, ridículo. Okay, so again, are you seeking truth or you just want to defend your religion? You have to come to grips with what you're doing. I don't have any problem if you tell me I want to defend my religion to the end of my life. Then just admit it. Don't say that you know the truth, and don't say that you are defending the truth or that you're teaching the truth. Just say that you believe in your religion, you defend it till the day you die. That's it. That's more truthful, in fact, you see. But I guess you avoid the truth so much that you can't even admit the truth. Just say what it is. Hay gente que defienden su religión hasta morir. ¿Por qué no diga eso? No diga que tú tienes la verdad o que te enseña la verdad. Si solo lo que está haciendo es defendiendo su idea religiosa, aunque Jehová lo contradice. Diga la verdad. Pero como huyen de la verdad, tampoco dicen la verdad en eso. So again, they don't admit the truth. Someone should say the truth. Start saying the truth, man. Admit the truth to yourself so you can move on. My goodness. Admite la verdad para sí mismo. Okay, that's enough ranting on it. Like I said, let's go into this problem. And let's look for the origin of the calendar. Let's go to a website called Judaism 101. And come there with me. Let's look at the screen. I'm going to put that up on the screen. Okay, what we're looking for most of our purposes is that basically we want to have a rendering, a calendar rendering, a rendering of time down to the day. Okay, so some of you should be laughing already because right? But we need a rendering of time down to the day, okay, of, since when God created the heavens and the earth and set his first big day, which, which has paramount importance in for the Jewish and for the biblical purposes, namely the seventh day, and so that we can know, right? What is the seventh day? What is the Shabbat, the seventh day, the seventh Yom, right? Así que isn't that an important thing? Everyone would agree that, and especially those who keep the Sabbath, shouldn't you insist in knowing exactly that the Sabbath that you're fighting so hard for is the actual Sabbath that God created? No es importante para el que guarde el sábado que el sábado, el día sábado, tanto que se defiende y se debate, sea el genuino sábado en que hizo Dios el día Shabbat y separó Dios y lo santificó. No es eso muy importante. We did a program last week, I believe, where we showed that God does take care. We prove that in Scripture, God takes care of important things, because no one can say that he forgot, because we see that he takes care of other issues, right? Like genealogies. Right? Vemos que Dios, en la semana pasada estamos hablando de las cosas importantes que Dios sí, que hemos comprobado que Dios sí tiende a las cosas importantes, que hemos probado en la escritura que Dios aseguró que se escribiera, que se diera en escrito las cosas importantes que Dios quería que el pueblo de su pueblo tuviese en Torah, y pues entonces a todo el mundo, ¿verdad? Como testimonio a toda la humanidad. Y eso lo vemos en la genealogía. Eso se dio la semana pasada. Last week we gave that class and we proved that. Beyond the shadow of the doubt. I mean, we know the generations going all the way back to Adam. Nosotros sabemos las generaciones yendo hasta Adán. So, lo importante que Dios quería que se mantuviera, que se escribiese, para que el hombre tuviese, ¿cómo se dice?, datos, pues está en la Biblia, está ahí. No podemos decir que estar excusando a Dios por omisiones. No podemos, dar excusas. So, we know by the fact that the genealogies are in the Bible, in Torah, going all the way to Adam, that there can be no apologetics. That means excuses, defense, for omissions by Yahweh on other matters of great importance, right? You can't have it. You cannot say that it's omitted. So whatever anyone's trying to say that certain things are not there because, but they were there, it's just that God didn't mention it. Those are excuses. Those are excuses. And, and for that, where you fail is in not recognizing the reality that what you're saying that God did not mention is one of the most important things in your religious belief. And you believe it to be the most important thing in the whole Bible. Yet, what we see the Bible record from Genesis on are the genealogies and not the Sabbath. We see it in Genesis 2:2-3, but then you don't see it again until Exodus 16. Nothing. But yet we can trace the genealogies, trace them all the way from Adam through Jacob and the people of Israel. When God takes them out of Egypt, they know their genealogy. They have it. Así que desde Génesis 2:2-3, el sábado que Dios creó, hasta Éxodo 16, no tenemos ninguna mención del sábado. Okay, mientras que hay genealogía. Dios, no se puede decir que Dios no lo menciona, pero había. No se puede decir por qué Dios, porque el sábado es muy importante. No ves, no crees. Así que, ¿cómo tú vas a decir que Dios no lo menciona, pero sí existía o se observaba? Y el sábado es lo más importante en su creencia, y el sábado se va a celebrar en el milenio, y el sábado es eterno aún, pues es más eterno que la genealogía, pero la genealogía se ve en Torah, en Génesis hacia toda la Torah, pero no el sábado. ¿Cómo se explica eso? Sencillo. Sencillamente. No es lo que tú piensas. That's it. It isn't the way you're thinking. That's the explanation. Why isn't it? If Sabbath is supposed to be, it's going to be celebrated, it's most important in your faith, and it's going to be celebrated in the millennium, and it's going to be eternal. It is eternal, right? So that we're always going to be observing the Sabbath. Okay, then is the genealogy also going to be observed in eternity? Is that what the Bible talks about in your genealogy? Your genealogies? Why are the genealogies there? Namely, from Genesis through Exodus, but not the Sabbath. Sabbath is stated as created, Genesis 2:2-3, and never mentioned again until Exodus 16, and it's right before Exodus 20 where it appears in the commandments. Así que you have to accept the way Yahweh demonstrates. You have to accept it. You cannot, any idea that any religious concept that has Sabbath being observed, right, before Exodus 16 is erroneous. It's all. It's just wrong, period. God doesn't even mention it. Since Genesis 2:3, he doesn't mention it again until Exodus 16. So that's it. That's what God, if God intended it to be important through Genesis through Exodus 16, then just like he did with the genealogy, he would have mentioned it. Así que si Dios quería que el sábado fuese importante, así como las genealogías de Génesis hacia Éxodo 16 y más, también Dios hubiera mencionado el sábado, pero no lo hace. Okay? So that's the fact. When God doesn't mention it, he's telling you something. Que si Dios no lo menciona es por algo. See? So, again, this is further exacerbated. Este polémica se hace más problemático with the fact that the Hebrew calendar or the biblical calendar has no connection, has no basis from Genesis through to Exodus. Okay, so basically there was no calendar kept until arguably God tells Moses, this is the first month of your year. This is when they leave Egypt in Aviv, okay? The month of Aviv, which is basically April, springtime, is when God takes them out of the land of, he rescues them, he takes them with a strong, mighty hand, as he says. And he says, this shall be the first month. So he gives them their calendar. That's when they have their own official calendar, right? When the Exodus, when they're leaving Egypt, that's when their calendar begins. Así que el calendario de los hebreos empieza cuando Dios los saca a mano fuerte, como dice Jehová, gloria a Dios. Amen. Los saca a mano fuerte de Egipto, de la tierra de esclavitud, de servidumbre, right? La casa de servidumbre. So, los saca con mano fuerte y le dice a ellos, este es su primer mes de Aviv. Aviv, entonces es como abrir, es abrir para nosotros. es la primavera. Este es su primer mes. Hasta ese momento los hebreos no tenían calendario. Los hebreos no tenían calendario. Okay. So, cuando empezaron a analizar la Biblia y cosas, mucho tiempo después, when they began to study the Bible and figure times, many years later is when they started to backfill. So they knew when, they started to calculate, and, they always are verifying with historical records. Siempre están buscando las historias en la arqueología para encontrar datos, para fijar el tiempo de la salida de Egipto, etcétera, etcétera, porque eso le da un lugar, ¿cómo se dice? Un indicador confirmado de ciertos tiempos y días, ¿no? Para fijar mejor el calendario. Y entonces, pero antes de Aviv, que entonces, so what could they do before April or before Aviv? I mean, later on, they started backfilling. And so it's basically, since there was no calendar kept, it's an issue of going backwards and just filling in. Okay? So that's what the Hebrew calendar is. Así que el calendario hebreo solamente rellena la parte anterior de, por ejemplo, la salida de Egipto. Rellenan ese tiempo hasta, como decir, Génesis, con los años. Eso es todo lo que hicieron. But when you start talking about days, that's a problem. And you're going to see why. You'll see why that is a problem. Again, God could have easily made this not a problem. That's what people need to understand. Lo que la gente necesita entender es que Dios fácilmente podía haber clarificado, dejar claro el asunto de los días anterior, o sea, a través de Génesis, para que no hubiese esta pregunta durante todas las edades, porque no es solamente yo que hago la pregunta hoy día, sino que esto ha sido el problema del calendario hebreo y de la apologética hebrea desde lo más temprana edad. Y es exactamente porque los días no está afijados. So let's look at what it says here. Numbering of Jewish years. The year number on the Jewish calendar represents the number of years since creation. Los años en el calendario hebreo. Let me just do this in let me just do this in English first, and then I'll read it in Spanish. Okay. The year number on the Jewish calendar represents the number of years since creation, calculated by adding up the ages of people in the Bible back to the time of creation. You see how God made sure that you had like the ages also. It's not just the genealogy, but the ages. So you knew how many years they lived. Great help. Wonderful. Así que Dios, mira, fíjate, Dios incluyó los años de la gente, de las genealogías, para que ahora nosotros podemos figurar que bueno, los años en total. ¿Sí da? So Dios se cuidó de darnos información importante. However, this does not necessarily mean that the universe has existed for only 5,700 years as we understand years, and that's a total different subject anyway. We're not here to calculate the age of the universe. We just want to know we We just want to know from the Sabbath day on, right? That's it. So, many Orthodox Jews will readily acknowledge that the first 6 days of creation are not necessarily 24-hour days, as we have already taught in previous teachings here. Indeed, a 24-hour day would be meaningless until the creation of the sun on the fourth day. For a fascinating, albeit somewhat defensive article by a nuclear physicist showing how Einstein's theory of relativity sheds light on the correspondence between the Torah's age of the universe and the age ascertained by science. So basically, that's an interesting thing to read. But again, the age of the universe is not what we want to know. We just want to know from the seventh day of creation to the following week, to the following week, to the following week. Because isn't the Sabbath day important? Nosotros lo que queremos saber es el día sábado de Génesis 2, 2 a 3 hasta la semana después y la semana que le siguió y la semana después de esto, etcétera, etcétera, para que podamos pues tener fijamente un conocimiento de cuando el día sábado, si el día sábado es el sábado, porque de tanto se critica a la gente que no están guardando el sábado, pero la cosa es, ustedes que guarden el sábado no pueden comprobar que es el sábado. Here it is. El número del año en el calendario judío representa el número de años desde la creación, calculando, sumando las edades de las personas en la Biblia desde el momento de la creación. Fíjese que Jehová puso los años, las edades, detalles. Sí, y digo esto, enfatizo eso para que usted entienda que Dios detalló las cosas suficientes para que haya confirmación de lo que importante. ¿Sí? Sin embargo, esto no significa necesariamente que el universo haya existido solamente por 5.700 años, tal como lo entendemos. Muchos judíos ortodoxos reconocerán fácilmente que los primeros 6 días de la creación no son necesariamente días de 24 horas, que en otros estudios ya hemos hablado de ese hecho. All right? Pero para este estudio lo que nos interesa sencillamente es la misma detalles que Dios proveyó. Ya probó Dios que Él da detalles a las cosas importantes, que nosotros entendamos o realizamos que entonces ¿dónde están los detalles y el otro sábado y otro sábado? Sin poner excusas, porque lo que pasa, eso es lo que está pasando, que ponen excusas. You know, the reality, the realization that God simply has not provided the detail concerning the Sabbath, the continuity of the Sabbath to Genesis 2, 2 to 3, that continuity, that connection, while he gives continuity to the genealogies and gives ages so that people can figure out the years. What, you know, isn't Sabbath day important, more important than all that? El sábado no es más importante que eso. See, this is enough. Esto es suficiente para poner una persona honesto, con integridad intelectual, de poner una pausa en el pensamiento de que el sábado es el mismo sábado de Génesis 2, 2, 3. Sencillo. So this is enough evidence here already. I don't have to go on. This is enough evidence as right on the surface of it, right here, to make anyone pause about the notion that the Sabbath, the Saturday, is in fact the Sabbath day that God created in Genesis 2:2-3. It's enough. We don't need to progress any further in these are the facts. This is factual. That's it. The only reason people continue on is because you are defending a religious belief as opposed to accepting God's own demonstrative teaching. What is demonstrative teaching? Demonstrative teaching is what God is saying by his actions or inaction. La enseñanza, lo que se está haciendo es se está defendiendo una religión, una idea religiosa sobre el sábado cuando no hay base en lo que Jehová ha dicho o no dicho. Esto se llama, yo lo estoy poniendo en el nombre de la enseñanza demostrativa, sea por demostración. Jehová está demostrando que él pone más énfasis en la genealogía y las edades de fulano de tal y fulana de tal, y no fulana porque son solo dos machos que se está hablando, ¿verdad? Pero las generaciones, hijo de tal, tal, y los años, vivió tantos años, etcétera, etcétera, y allí se puede calcular los años. Pero vemos que en contraste, que Jehová no provee la conexión con Génesis 2 y 3, que es el sábado original, no provee Jehová conexión, cada 7 días, cada 7 días, cada 7 días, cada 7 días, para apoyar una enseñanza que esto es el sábado que Dios hizo, y que Dios descansó, y que todo se tiene que observar ese sábado, esa enseñanza que siempre existía y que siempre se observaba. Esa idea de la importancia de el sábado no tiene base en contraste, o sea, en comparación con la genealogía. So we see at best that genealogies are more important to Jehovah than the Sabbath is, at least from Genesis 2:2-3 until Exodus 16, at least through all of those generations of men. The Sabbath takes a backstage. It's not even mentioned again. While all throughout all this time, the genealogy is very important. So we have a disjoint with just disconnect between what some modern Sabbath day keepers project as God's command and will and importance and weight on Sabbath to the reality of the Torahtic record. You don't see it. You see something else. So, no, lo que se ve es una desconexión entre lo que enseñan los que guardan el sábado hoy día, de la importancia, el énfasis sobre el sábado, con la realidad de Torah, de entre Génesis y Éxodo. No se ve ese énfasis, se ve otra cosa, genealogías. So simply, you cannot have a basis for thinking that first, that the Saturday that you think is Sabbath, the Sabbath day, is the actual Sabbath day. There's no connection. God does not give you that connection at all. Dios no provee la conexión entre Génesis 2 y 3 y Éxodo 28, no lo da. Solo la enseñanza, pero no da la conexión como hace con la genealogía. You think, couldn't God have made a mention? Of course he would, if that was the important thing, but then it wasn't, was it? Or is it? Entonces, si Dios hubiera pensado o tenido el sábado como importante, hubiera dado la información, los detalles que estamos hablando. Sencillo, lo dio para la genealogía. Le dio años a todos los patriarcas, los años que vivió. Vivió fulano tanto, murió. Y vivió fulano tanto y murió. Y vivió fulano tanto y murió. También podía Jehová haber dicho, y pasó 2 sábados y el tercero, y descansaron el día sábado, y allí, desde Génesis hasta Éxodo 16. Pero no lo dice. So, this is just a simple matter. It really is. There's really no need for looking for any more excuses or defense of the fact that God does not place importance on Sabbath until the Exodus 20 and 8 as the command, giving it to them prior in Exodus 16. But totally silent to it, or in regards to it, since the first Shabbat. And on the first Shabbat, Adam didn't even Shabbat. To finish this off, it's it's clear. Así vemos que también Adán no descansó el día sábado. Ni siquiera el único sábado donde estuvo Adán y que menciona la Biblia, y Adán no descansó, no observó a Adán el día Shabbat. Fíjase, entonces ningún otro día Shabbat tampoco observó ni guardó ninguna mención, y no puedo decir que sí si no se menciona, punto. No se puede decir. Estamos añadiendo a la Biblia si decimos que sí. So if you say that Adam did Shabbat because he had to, of course he had to, like, all of these apologetics like this. Oh, of course they had to. It's a commandment of God. The laws of God are eternal. Of course he had to have. That again, that is where error is unchecked. That's how you get fooled and deceived. Of course. That's the same thing the devil did with Eve. Oh, he didn't mean that. Of course he meant that you'll be just like he is if you eat of it. That is the deception. Simply, God is clear-headed enough to state what he means. Simple. I mean, you guys always say to others, God said, keep the Sabbath. He said, remember the Sabbath day. It says it there, black and white. You guys say it. So, doesn't the Bible omit the Sabbath between Genesis 2:2-3 until Exodus 6? Then admit that. Simple. Don't be saying stuff that isn't there. You see, but you want to, because you need to do that. Again, to support a belief that's not supported in Scripture. Así que la gente usa que, mira, tan claro que dice la Biblia. Dios dijo, guarda el sábado. Mira cómo lo dice tan clarito. Pero entonces, cuando no dice que ninguno menciona, que ninguno observó sábado, entonces dicen ustedes, oh, pues seguro que tuvieran que haber guardado esa. Eso es la decepción y la deshonestidad. Sencillamente, no diga lo que la Biblia no dice. ¿Sí? Si tú quieres que la gente acepte lo que la Biblia dice, no diga lo que la Biblia no dice. Ni cree lo que la Biblia no dice. So, it's by the same token. You can't have it both ways. If you want people to believe what Yahweh says, then also accept what Yahweh doesn't say. That's it. It seems simple enough, isn't it? Si Jehová no lo dijo, no diga que lo dijo. No diga que sucedió si Jehová no da detalles que sucedió. No especifica que sucedió. No diga que tenía que haber sucedido. No. Eso no dice la Biblia. So, también, si quieren que la gente acepte la Biblia, acepta lo que no dice la Biblia también. All right? So, again, and of course, if now you have to admit that the scripture does not show you that people observe the Sabbath between Genesis 2:2-3 and Exodus 16, then you have obviously a lot of changing to do in a lot of things that you're thinking about Sabbath. And realize that Adam lived in the Shabbat of God, but he did not keep the Sabbath. So what does that teach you? I have a teaching on that. It should be still on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. It's one of the archive teachings. It's there. That's a teaching in and of itself. But again, when you have a people who are just looking at obeisance and not understanding, it doesn't penetrate. Así que si cuando tenemos, es muy claro, yo enseñé que lo que dice claramente Jehová, que no, Adán no guardó el sábado, cuando Jehová observó el sábado o hizo el sábado, Jehová no observó el sábado, sino que él creó el sábado, y Adán no tomó parte, sino que existió, vivió durante el Shabbat. ¿Qué es lo que enseña Jehová? Yo enseñé sobre eso en otro tema, y eso debe estar en Roku and Amazon TV. Okay, so let's continue reading here. The first month of the Jewish calendar is the month of Nisan. In spring, when Passover occurs. However, the Jewish New Year is in Tishri, the seventh month, and that's because of the Babylonian influence. See how far away the calendar is impacted on the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar. Fíjese que el calendario hebreo, Dios le dijo que el primer mes del año era Nisan, pero aquí era entonces cambiado, o sea, fue cambiado por los babilónicos, porque los babilonios tenían el primer del año en Tishri, que es un nombre no hebreo, sino babilónico. So we see that the calendarization of the Hebrew calendar has been processed throughout the ages. So vemos también que el calendario hebreo ha sido cambiado durante las edades. Okay? So the names of the months of the Jewish calendar were adopted during the time of Israel. En los tiempos de Esdras, adoptaron las meses, los nombres de las meses, después que regresaron del exilio babilónico, after they returned from the Babylonian exile. The names are actually Babylonian month names, the Nisan, right? The Aviv is the Hebrew name of the first one, Nisan, but it's Aviv, originally, or in the Hebrew. So they brought back to Israel these names by the returning exile. So another thing you have to look at, especially for people who are into the Hebrew Roots movement, you have to make, I know that some of you guys do this, but you have to make careful separation, filtration of the Babylonian influences from your Hebrew original source matter. And you have to also understand that you only going by oral tradition, which is a problem. Así que hay que entender aquí también que de la influencia que tuvo los babilónicos a los hebreos y el hecho de que lo original hebreo, de las cosas hebreas, de su fe hebrea, eran de tradición oral. Y hay problemas con tradiciones orales. Aunque ellos dicen que no, eso es lo más fiel y cosas, eso no es verdad. No es verdad. You know, you guys have your oral tradition, but you guys apparently never played a game. We played a game, and it wasn't a game. Sure, it is a game, but it was actually a what do you call it, an observation, a test, if you will. And maybe you guys had played it when you were kids too, or the teacher did this test in your classroom. That they line up all the kids in a circle, right? And then the teacher says, I'm going to tell this student one thing here in his ear. And then he's going to tell the other one and the other one, and it's going to go down, each of you telling the next one, and each of you have to repeat the same thing over to the next guy or girl. And it has to come back to me what I said to this first one. And so no matter how many times we did that test, it never came out the same way it started. Así que esto, la maestra nos dio una asignación, una prueba, ¿no? Puso todo el mundo en un círculo, quizá ustedes lo hicieron cuando eran niños. Y entonces la maestra dijo, repite lo que oigan el otro estudiante decir. Entonces ella empezó a decir a un estudiante algo en la oreja. Entonces ese dijo al otro y a la otra y así consecutivamente pasando el mensaje a todos los estudiantes en su oreja hasta llegar a la maestra otra vez. Entonces la maestra escribió el mensaje que llegó a ella y entonces escribió el mensaje que ella primero dio al estudiante primero. Y nunca, no importa cuántas veces lo hicimos, nunca salía la misma cosa. So this was an interesting, and I've never believed that an oral tradition, because when you guys say that you have by oral tradition, I could never believe that an oral tradition was could possibly be faithful. And then how can you look at it being faithful if the names of the calendar names would change? Where is the fidelity? I mean, that on the face of it should prove that oral tradition could not have possibly survived. It did not make any correction in the calendar. Así que no vemos que la tradición oral tenía poder, tenía fuerza para corregir el calendario a lo que tenía que ser antes. So it had no power, obviously. So then why is it you're putting so much faith in the oral tradition? Así que la tradición oral no comprueba, no hay evidencia. Y eso podría ser otro estudio, pero no hay evidencia de lo que vemos ahora, de lo que podemos ver aquí, apreciar aquí. No podemos ver evidencia de que la tradición oral en los hebreos tenía algún efecto dominante, porque vemos que los nombres Por un ejemplo, los nombres de los meses no eran lo que tenía Israel antes, sino son nombres de meses que dejaron que los babilónicos cambiaran a su forma. Y también el hecho del nuevo año, no solamente el nombre del mes, sino que el nuevo año también lo celebraban a la forma de los babilónicos, no a la forma que Dios dijo. So even more than just the names of the month, you have here evidence that the first of the year even wasn't. Where's the help of the oral tradition? They still celebrate Rosh Hashanah in fall. Their new year is still in fall when God said that the new year was in spring. So where's your oral tradition? At least we know about it, right? All right. So again, el fallo de, again, it makes it doubtful, just like it had no ability to correct the calendar, the Hebrew calendar, and extricate the Babylonian influence, right? Which anyone could say it has pagan origins, right? It's not Hebrew origin, it's not God, it's not from Yahweh. So that influence is from a pagan nation. Permanently on any Jew going by this calendar is permanently paganized. Santo. Así que cualquier judío que sigue el calendario babilónico está siguiendo una tradición pagana. Ni siquiera. ¿Y dónde está la tradición oral? All right. I mean, it's like I'm saying. What are the excuses? Apologetics. Let's go. Vamos a tener ahora lo apologético. Okay. So, but that's not the main problem. What we're going to get to? We're going to get to the main issue. So, the length of forgive I don't mention these right, and Kislev are determined by complex calculations involving the time of day of the full moon of the following year's Tishri and the day of the week that Tishri would occur in the following year. After many years of blissful ignorance, I finally sat down and worked out the mathematics involved. And I have added a page on the Jewish calendar, a closer look, which may be of interest to those who are interested in the mathematics. Okay. So, days of the Jewish week. Vamos a ir a los días de la semana judía. Other than Shabbat, the name of the seventh day of the week, the Jewish calendar doesn't have names for the days of the week. The days of the week are simply known as the first day, second day, third day, etc. Sometimes they are referred to more fully as the first day of the Sabbath, etc. Okay, so, otra vez, ahora, otra verdad. Los días de la semana no tienen nombre. Jehová no le dio nombre. So, no se puede decir que el sábado fue sábado en español, en inglés Saturday. You can't say that Sabbath was Saturday. You can't say it. You see, but this is where the dishonesty and deceptions begin. Estas son las decepciones, y ahí es donde las decepciones y la deshonestidad empiezan. Because if you start saying that the Sabbath is Saturday, then you are you're being intellectually dishonest. Because you know for a fact that Yahweh did not ever name the days of the week. So you cannot possibly state that Saturday is Sabbath. Usted no puede decir que el sábado es el sábado, el Shabbat, el periodo de Génesis 2 y 2 y 3. Because that was the seventh day. You have no ability to connect the seventh day of Yahweh, that Yahweh created the heavens and the earth, to a Saturday, and for that matter of fact, to any day of the week. There's no connection, which is the problem, because God did not provide that for you. Así que nadie puede decir que el Shabbat es el sábado porque no hay ningún dato que conecta Génesis 2, 2 a 3 al día del Shabbat. Ninguno. Okay? No sabemos primero, segundo, se asuma. We assume that is that day. It's an assumption. But without a calendar, without at least a biblical mentioning every 7-day period, which again, could God have done that? Yes. Did he do that? No. So we can't do what? We cannot say that the Saturday is the Sabbath day of Genesis 2 to 3. That's all. That's what happens. Did God want it that way? Of course he did. You guys don't like that though, because it doesn't fit with your belief. It fits with my belief, but not yours, because I believe what God did and I believe what God said. So it's perfect to me. But you guys have an issue with that. So then you have to bring up excuses, you see, and make God look like he forgot. Así que lo que pasa es que Dios no dijo los días de la semana, no provee ese detalle. Y entonces, como no lo provee, no hay manera de conectar el sábado de hoy con el sábado, el Shabbat, que Dios hizo en el séptimo día. Ahora, ¿Dios sabía eso? Seguro que sí. Dios podía haber hecho detalles cada 7 días y es el otro séptimo día y era el séptimo día y la cuarta séptimo día. Sí, seguro que sí. ¿Dios lo hizo? No, seguro que no. Entonces, ¿hay problema con eso? Seguro que no conmigo. Conmigo no hay problema. Es perfectamente lo que Dios quiere. Pero es problemático para los que dicen que el sábado, que el día Saturday, el sábado que conocemos hoy, es el día séptimo que Dios hizo en Génesis 2, 2 y 3. Eso es el problema. That's it. Conmigo no hay problema. Con los cristianos, normalmente no hay problema. Pero para el que es hebreo, raíz hebrea, hebreo mesiánico, es un problema, porque adventistas necesitan conectar Génesis 2, 2 y 3 con el día sábado, porque están confundiendo las cosas. Pero más que eso, se está uniendo el día sábado con el Génesis 2, 2 y 3, y eso es el problema. No es así, Dios no te da eso, no lo dio, eso no lo coge. Okay, so that's it. It's basically, they are making a conflation between the Saturday, so supposed Sabbath day observance, because it is an observance. It's not the day, it's an observance of the day. And Genesis 2, 2 to 3. You have to read what's there, not add to it. Remember the Sabbath day. See? So again, dice que acordaos de el séptimo, el día sábado. Y eso es recordar de Génesis 2, 2 y 3, no un día. Que no se llamaba sábado tampoco, pero un día que hoy conocemos como sábado. Of course, that was how they called it back then, because that was when they started to do it. That's simple. One of the evidences. So let's talk about that. One of the evidences that's given for the Sabbath day being the Saturday that we all know. Una de las evidencias que se da que el sábado es el sábado que conocemos es que Jehová le dijo, este es el día, Éxodo 16, este es tu sábado. See, this is the Sabbath day for you to keep. He said that in Exodus 16 when he once after all the silence, he tells Israel to not pick up the food. Remember, they had to go out 6 days and pick up the food, and God would test them with the Sabbath, with the Sabbath. And so that's what he did. But that doesn't mean that day is the exact same day of Genesis 2:2-3. And why is that? Mucha gente dice que el Éxodo 16, cuando Dios les dice, este es el sábado, usted no recogerá pan, ni maná, ni la carne, usted lo recogerá el día antes, porque en ese día no caerá, no proveerá, en este día es el sábado, right? So, ellos usan eso para, como decir, comprobar que Jehová está diciendo que este es el sábado. Pero lo que Jehová dijo ahí específicamente, let's go over the action. Vamos a ir allá para que ustedes lo vean. Vamos a ir allá. Let's go over to Exodus 16 so that you can see it. Exodus 16. Okay. So aquí dice, this says in 4, then to say the Lord to Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no. So the point was, are these people lawable? Or are they able to follow instructions? Así que Dios le está diciendo, a ver si esta gente pueden seguir instrucciones, mi Torah. Por eso dice, caminar en mi ley, mi instrucción. Recuerde que esa palabra es Torah allí, ¿verdad? Mucha gente confunden también en inglés. Y en español, ley. Cuando dice ley es Torah. Que Torah quiere decir instrucciones, mandatos. All right? So, okay. So then, and it shall come to pass on the 6th day that shall prepare that which they bring in, and shall be twice as much. And Moses said unto the children, do this thing, right, that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And he said, this shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, in the morning bread to the full, for that the Lord heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord. And Moses spake unto them, saying unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before the Lord, he hath heard your murmurings. So, it says, so vamos a ir a... Okay, here it is. In verse 23. And he said unto them, in el verso 23, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today, and see that you will see, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. Okay? Again, and Moses said in 25, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. Okay, so he says that it's not the Sabbath. It says that today is a Sabbath. So aquí Moisés no está diciendo que este es el sábado, sino está diciendo esto es un sábado. Then it goes, and then listen to the language. It says 6 days. It doesn't say which. This is the issue that people are not understanding. That the Bible's very clear. It is. It says 6 days. Ye shall gather it. But on the 7th day, see, so again, which is the Sabbath, see, in it there shall be none. So the issue is 6 days and then the 7th day. So la cosa es que está hablando de 6 días y entonces el séptimo día. It's the Sabbath because it's the 7th. You understand that? That's why. Not that it is the specific day, but it is the specific number of days have passed. No es que es el día específico, sino que los números de días han pasado. 6 días han pasado, el séptimo es sábado. So it's a Sabbath day because it is a 7th day, not because it is the. Okay. So again, now it is. So how do you comprehend this? It's simply that you comprehended the way you do. It's just simply that God told them, "These are the 6 days I will give you, and then on the 7th." Now, the problem is the following. Let's cut to the chase. The problem is the following: that if God was teaching that the 7th day and the Shabbat day is a specific day, right? It has to connect to Genesis 2:3. That's all I'm saying. Si el sábado es un día específico, tiene que conectarse a Génesis 2, 2 y 3. El hecho que Dios no lo hizo, the fact that God did not connect it, like he did the genealogies, there's no connection to Genesis 2:2-3. Then this is the day he gave them for Sabbath. What is the Sabbath? Remember the Sabbath day. That's explained to you in Exodus 20, verse 8. Así en Éxodo te describe qué es el sábado en Éxodo 28. Porque aquí lo que Dios le está dando a Israel un sábado, o sea, el sábado para ellos. No quiere decir, no hay evidencia que Dios provee que esto es el sábado de Génesis 2, 2 y 3. Hay que entender el lenguaje de la Biblia. El hecho que Dios no provee los detalles de Éxodo 2, 2 y 3, los 7 días después, los 7 días después, los 7 días después, así como hizo con la genealogía. Y este tuvo y murió tantos años, este tuvo y vivió tantos años, este tuvo esto y vivió por tantos años. No dio los detalles con el sábado. Así que, entonces, este sábado que está dando a Israel, no hay evidencia de que sea el igual día al día de Génesis 2 y 2 y 3. It's just simply, it's just that you're adding that to it. Because the Bible doesn't state that, it doesn't prove that this is the Sabbath day of Genesis 2:2-3. It doesn't prove it. Doesn't provide the evidence. Again, like the genealogies are provided. Así que como las genealogías son provistas, la Biblia no está proveyendo evidencia de que el sábado sea el sábado de Génesis 2 y 3. That's it. Cuando Dios habla, ahora este es el sábado, después de 6 días trabajando, recogiendo, el séptimo día descansará. Eso es una enseñanza. No tiene que ser el Génesis 2, 2 y 3, porque no hay evidencia que sea. No quiere decir, you're assuming, es una asunción y un presunción que es el mismo día en que Dios hizo el Shabbat. That's what I'm saying. So it's clear, because of the omission of evidence from Genesis 2, 2 to 3. And you say, why does there need to be evidence? We just have to believe Jehovah because he provides evidence in the genealogies. Why don't we believe Jehovah for the genealogies though? All Jehovah had to say was this one was the son of that one. That's it, period. Believe it. Jacob was the son all the way from Adam. He was under Noah and Seth, period. Without all the little details in between. Because God said it. If you're saying that it's enough that God just says, well, Jacob was the son of Seth, who was the son of Noah, and then Noah was the son of Adam, that's it. Then God would have just done that. But he didn't. He gave details that there'll be no doubt. But he didn't give details for the Sabbath. Así que Dios dio evidencia generación por generación por generación para los patriarcas de Adán, a Noé, a Seth, a Jacob, Israel, ¿verdad? Dio la genealogía años detallado. Si Dios se podía decir, no, hay solamente creer que Dios, cuando Dios dio este sábado a Israel, que eso es exactamente el mismo sábado que siempre desde Génesis 2 y 3, porque hay que creer a Dios. Pues entonces, ¿por qué Dios no hizo lo mismo con la genealogía? ¿Sí? You can't say that about the Sabbath when he doesn't do it for the genealogies. Tú no puedes decir eso para el sábado cuando no lo hace por las genealogías. Eso es sencillo. No se puede decir. Eso es una excusa que usan ustedes. Es una apologética, pero no es la evidencia de la Biblia. Dios provee detalles de genealogía. God gives proof of the genealogies. Then the Sabbath, if this is the same exact Sabbath, then God had to provide the proof of that. Lacking that proof, you cannot state that. Because when you read it, if you read it without assuming, then you read it as it is read, that is was written, simply that this was the seventh day for the purposes of this command, for the purposes of this test, which is all that is saying. And that's the way you're supposed to read it, not assuming that this Sabbath is Genesis 2 to 3. This is an assumption. You made the assumption, but that's not what God said. This is, again, where the errors begin to happen, because you're assuming. Then the other thing, then they go, well, Jesus kept the Sabbath. He didn't say anything. Again, he didn't have to. God told the Jews, do this here. On this is your Sabbath day. See? So he gave the Jews the Sabbath day on the day that he gave it to them. That does not mean that that day is to the day Genesis 2, 2 to 3. There's no evidence. just simply that he gave him that day. And of course, you're saying, well, why would God do that? Because he is doing exactly what he intended to do from the beginning, which is Torah, instruction. It's teaching. Esto es Torah. ¿Por qué Dios va a hacer eso? Que le va a dar un día, un sábado, que no sea el mismo sábado de Génesis 2, 12, 3. Y la respuesta es que esto es Torah, esto es instrucción, enseñanza. La misma razón que no dijo a Adán que guardara el Shabbat con Jehová. It's the same reason that God did not tell Adam to Shabbat with him. So again, a lot of misconception comes in because they're making assumptions. They're making connections where God purposefully, not forgetfully, but purposely did not leave any dots for you to connect the dots with. Y vemos que a propósito Dios no dio puntitas para tú conectitas. Lo dio con la genealogía. Con la genealogía podemos marcar los puntos y hacer calculaciones. Pero no se puede hacer, no hay puntitos entre Génesis 2, 12, 3 a Éxodo 16. Punto. No lo hay. No existe. No, porque se está asumiendo. Con la omisión tan clara. Porque es una omisión. It's a clear omission. There is no reason for you to assume. Again, assumption come in. The assumption comes in that God is saying that this is Genesis 2 to 3 when he makes no clear connection. So that Jesus later on comes and goes to temple with all the other Jews, that's not something that continues with the teaching of Torah. Eso continúa que Jesús y fue a la sinagoga en el sábado o el sábado no dice nada nuevo, sino que sigue la enseñanza de Torah. Pero no, eso tampoco dice que es Génesis 2 y 2 y 3. In other words, why are you thinking that it has to be Genesis 2 to 3? ¿Por qué se está pensando que tiene que ser Génesis 2, 2 a 3? Especially in the light of God saying, you shall not enter into my Sabbath. Especialmente cuando uno considera que Dios dice después, no entrará en mi sábado. I'll show you that so that we can put an end to this segment here so you guys can understand. Even God is saying that they're not in his Sabbath. That's what God said. Dios, aún Jehová dice que no están en mi sábado. Look at this. Let's get this. My Sabbath or my rest. We'll try my Sabbath, but okay. I didn't bring in the whole thing. Okay, again, the secondary thing about this also is that he talks about his Sabbaths en plural, mis sábados. Otra cosa, entonces Génesis 2, 2 y 3, 2 a 3 no es sábados, es el sábado. Es algo particular, ¿verdad? Esto está hablando en muchas partes de la vida de los sábados, de otros que son sábados que no son. Just the fact that he has other Sabbaths that are not even on Saturday is also the other teaching that the Sabbath isn't a particular day. The teaching of Sabbath is not about a particular day that we know, if it's a particular day that God knows, it's a particular teaching. That's what it is. El hecho que hay otros sábados, aún sábados que no cae en el día sábado, es otra indicación que el sábado es algo distinto, algo único, que no tiene que ver con los sábados que celebra los judíos. So even that tells you that these Sabbaths are not related in terms of the day to the day of Genesis 2 to 3. So what makes you think that that's Exodus 16 Sabbath and the 28th Sabbath is connected? That's the other thing. Does it have to be connected? No. No tiene que estar conectado. Eso es lo que enseña. Los sábados no tienen que estar conectados con Génesis 2, 2 y 3. Porque existen otros que no son en el sábado que ustedes tienen como sábado. All right. I'm going to see if we can find it here. And after this, I'm going to take a slight break. So you give me a few moments. It might not be on the Sabbath. It could be on the rest. But I'll just try it here. Okay, so it may be the enter. It might be rest. So we'll do that. So Psalm 95, 1, it says, "Unto whom I swear in my wrath that they should not enter into my rest." Now the word rest here is Shabbat. So God talks about Shabbat, that he has Shabbat. Which Shabbat is God's? What is Yahweh's Shabbat? Hebrews 3:11 repeats that. Hebrews 4:3 repeats that again. And we know that it is his rest is the Shabbat, because it says Hebrews 4:3, "For we which have believed do enter into rest," into Shabbat. As he said, "As I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world." So the statement by Jehovah in the previous Old Testament references is recognized by the New Testament Jews as Shabbat. He's talking about God's Shabbat. And in this place again, Hebrews 4:5, "If they shall enter into my rest." So, aquí vemos otra vez que si entran en mi descanso, en mi reposo, que está hablando Dios, lo reconoce los judíos cristianos ahora, que cuando Dios dijo eso, está hablando del sábado y que tiene que ver el verso Hebreo 4:3, hablando del trabajo terminado desde la fundación del mundo. Está haciendo la correlación con el hecho que Dios descansó del trabajo de su creación. So, en correlación que ese descanso es el Génesis 2, 2 y 3. You see that? So that is something that God is saying. He's reserving. So you got into my rest. See? It is not your Saturday. Because then everyone would be entering into his rest. But we can see clearly that God has preserved his rest, his Sabbath, separate. It is separate, even from man. See? So now if you read, that's why you see here the reason God didn't make it a clear line, a trajectory, a clearly delineated from Genesis 2:2-3 through Exodus 16 of week by week by week by week, because that is reserved. His Shabbat is reserved. Because not everyone will enter into his Shabbat, into Genesis 2:2-3. Now read Exodus 23. Ahora vamos, no todo el mundo entrará en su reposo. No todo el mundo entrará en Génesis 2, 2 y 3. Ahora lee Éxodo 28. Now read Exodus 20 and 8. Zakar, remember the Sabbath day. Genesis 2:2-3. See? Because you're not going into it. Tú no puedes entrar en ella. Eso lo tengo reservado. Pero esto es el día que tú recuerdes. So now we see that he's telling them to remember Genesis 2-3. It's not issue that is 2-3. That is not Genesis 2-3. Remember Genesis 2-3. Remember what I did, what I stopped. That is what you're supposed to be remembering. That is what you call Shabbat. And that is the teaching. But it is not the day, because the day, the Shabbat itself is my Shabbat. So what the Bible is actually teaching, what Jehovah is actually teaching, is that the Shabbat is something he has reserved. He has reserved that. And he only told Israel to remember it. And the purposes we've been covering from week to week here in this program. We will take a break right now and we will continue in about 5 minutes. So give me about 5 minutes here and I'll be right back. Okay, let's get back in here. Thank you for that. You gotta take a break every once in a while, and for water, going one way and the other. You guys understand that, or shall we make it a Shabbat thing? All right. Now let's continue with the problem here. And where were we? Over here. Okay. So we have the 7 days of the week, and so more discussion on the calendars. But let's go into the main problem here, and this is it. Look at what happens here. You know, God gives them a calendar they have to follow. He specifies the moons. The new moon, it starts the new month. It has nothing to do with the day that it starts in terms of setting Sabbaths up or not. That's not my point at all. This interesting. You're gonna in this second part here. We're gonna be brief. It's not gonna take that long, but it's going to show you some really important information because it's going to show you quite possibly that God made very specific time calculations or revealing times which are different today than they were back then. We're going to show you that today. And what does that mean? But here we go. And there's many examples, there's many things. Even if you could, let's put it this way. If God had placed dots between Genesis 2, 2 to 3, to Exodus 16, let's just say that he did do that, like he did the genealogy, you still wouldn't be on Sabbath today, on the right day. Okay, because there's scientific proof that the days have shifted. Time has shifted. Okay, so that means that it cannot even there in that way be the same day. Así que si podíamos, vamos a ver, hay mucha evidencia. Si se conectaría los puntos de Génesis 2, 2 a 3 a Éxodo 16, aún si tuviera eso, si era posible, si Dios hubiera puesto esos detalles, hay evidencia científica que te prueba de que los días han cambiado de todos modos. Okay? So, again, eso no te ayudaría anyway. Okay? So, it's with the proof, or it's without the proof is what you have, and with the proof it won't matter anyway because the days simply have shifted. Now, let's look at this part here on Judaism 101. You see what the name of the site is? JewFAQ.org. You can find this and a lot of other great Jewish stuff here. So here, this statement here is very, very important. It says the discrepancy in the Jewish calendar, however, is still less than a lunar month. Now, this is at, where is this? This is near the bottom of this page. This page is I believe it's entitled the accuracy of the calendar. So this page that I'm on is this page here that I'm highlighting, okay? Accuracy of the calendar. So it has shown already a lot of discrepancies in the calendar already, in the rendering of the calendar, and that's since they started. You know, with we're not even talking about Genesis to Exodus here. We're talking about just the regular calendar from the Babylonian times to now. The discrepancy in the Jewish calendar, however, is still less after all that was said and done. Is still less than a lunar month and is therefore as accurate as it is possible to be in a lunisolar calendar. But the whole point here, as you can see, is that it is not perfect. It is not 100% accurate. This is the point. Once you're not 100% accurate, you lose days. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. So aquí, si no es, aquí dice que la discrepancia, aquí estamos en ¿cómo se dice? Lo correcto del calendario judío. Estamos casi a la última de la hoja que describe mucho discrepancia en el calendario judío. Discrepancia quiere decir que se pierde días. Si se pierde días, entonces el sábado se mueve. You guys got to understand, if you're losing days, then Sabbath is shifting. And, because we're talking about Sabbath, Sabbath is shifting. It's moving. And again, this is just from the Babylonian times to now. Can you imagine going back? Así que, and the thing was that before then there wasn't a calendar. It was just like tradition and looking for when the flowers started and stuff like that. Come on now, you guys gotta wake up and smell the coffee. You guys gotta learn how to read and understand what you're reading. Usted tiene que entender lo que está leyendo. My goodness, no hay perfecto calendario, se pierde días, punto. Los días van cambiando. So, it is therefore as accurate as possible, but it isn't 100%. In fact, it takes about 9,300 years for this discrepancy to accumulate to a full month of time, right? Right? But that means that before 9,003, let's divide this into 4 weeks, okay? Because we're interested in the weeks, not the month. So it takes about what? 1,400 years? 1,400 years per week. 1,400 años. Con un cambio, una pérdida de una semana, 7 días. Come on now. Okay, you got that? So the Sabbath day moves every 1,400 years. It's moving through all the days of the week. Okay? Which day of the week? Which day of the week? ¿Qué día de la semana? ¿Qué día de la semana? It's moving from Jehovah's seventh day. Eso está moviéndose del día que Jehová hizo el séptimo día. That's it. Done deal. Finish with that. The rabbis were aware of the problem. Los rabinos estaban conocedores del problema. But were quite confident that the new Sanhedrin, that a new Sanhedrin will be established long before this discrepancy becomes problematic. We still have more than 3,500 years to go. They got 3,500 years to go before a full month is lost. In terms of, that's almost 30, that's 30 days. Okay, but we just talking about Sabbath. 7 days. It is 7. That's 7 times 4. Así que son 7 días a la semana a 4. Eso es lo que tienen que entender. Okay, again, no puede ser que en Génesis 2, 2 y 3, el Sabbath de Jehová es el sábado que ustedes están observando. It's not. It is simply remember the Sabbath. That's all you can do because it's not the same day. But you can remember the seventh day, the Sabbath day, every 7 days, every of your 7 days. You can remember what I did in Genesis 2, 2 to 3. That is what God is saying. Simple. Porque Dios está diciendo que ustedes pueden recordar lo que yo hice cada 7 días. Ustedes recuerden lo que yo hice en Génesis 2, 2 y 3. Porque no hay modo, ni yo dándote los puntos, ni que ustedes calculan nada. No se puede conocer o juntar los días. You cannot connect the dots because the dots are not connectable. That's it. Guess why? ¿Por qué no se puede conectar los días? Because God didn't want you to do it. Because you will not, if he don't want, in his wrath, you shall not enter into my rest. Porque Dios no quiere que tú sepas cuál es el día, el Shabbat de Dios, porque ese es su descanso. Solo que ustedes cada 7 días recuerda, acordaos de. All right, and now we're going to go into another point here, some more Jewish and understanding about the Hebrew calendar. This is from the Torah.com. Esto es del Torah.com, I believe that's the Torah.com. And this article is entitled, What is the Bible's Calendar? ¿Cuál es la Biblia? Perdón. ¿Cuál es el calendario de la Biblia? Good question. Buena pregunta. Okay. So it says here, the Torah prescribes the observance of festivals on specific dates, but does not explain how the calendar must be reckoned. La Biblia enfatiza o prescriba lo que se observa la fiesta en día específico, pero la Biblia no explica cómo el calendario debe ser hecha. See? Again, God gives specific details on genealogy. Dios da detalles específicos sobre la genealogía, pero no lo está dando para los días específicos donde tiene que hacer la fiesta uno. Y eso son las cosas más importantes. And they're the most important things. Why does he do that? ¿Por qué hace eso? I've already explained to you why. See, you got to just understand that this is the teaching. Esto es parte de la enseñanza, lo que tienen que entender. Esa es la razón que no da con especificidad. ¿Es it luna? ¿Es de luna? ¿O es solar? ¿Es solar? Does it follow some other scheme o sigue otro esquema? And why is the Torah silent on it? ¿Por qué la Torah no habla de este asunto? Why doesn't it? ¿Por qué no habla Torah? ¿Por qué Jehová no habla sobre este problema? See that? So why doesn't God talk about this issue? Because it's set up. I mean, who made the heavens and the earth? ¿Quién hizo los cielos y la tierra? Jehová. Then he tells you to follow things a certain time. Entonces te dice, sigue estas cosas en un tiempo determinado. Pero entonces no hay modo de reconciliar los tiempos. O sea que tenemos que hacer nuestros arreglos para acomodar. So it doesn't make an arrangement to fix these things. It leaves it up to man, to Israel, to figure out and fix how you can observe these things. Because it doesn't just fit into the box. It doesn't sit there right. It doesn't fit in. Yet God created the heavens and the earth. So what is up with that? It's supposed to be, if God created the heavens and earth and then gives you the law, then everything fits in, right? Wouldn't you think that? But yet we find that the most important things of God are not mentioned. And between Genesis 2:2-3 and Exodus 16, and then on top of that, the things he tells you to do don't fit in. Go figure. Entonces, lo que estamos viendo es que las cosas más importantes para Jehová y para nosotros, el sábado, no lo menciona entre Génesis 2 y 3 y Éxodo 16. Y después, en los días específicos de fiesta, de esto, lo otro, tampoco se puede cuadrar con calendario, no especifica. Y como dije anteriormente, se pierden días, hay días perdidas, se añaden, se quitan, no queda Y no se sabe por cuánto tiempo ha estado así. So we don't even know how many days were lost or whatnot based on before we start even using math on the calendars. I mean, we just don't know. We are depending on the oral tradition. This, I believe it by Professor Schachter. As part of the introduction to Pesach offering, Exodus 12:2 declare that the month in which the exodus from Egypt will occur should be counted as the first month of the year. Este es el primer mes del año, dice Dios. This month is unto you the beginning of months. You see? You see, hear God speaking, the way he says it. This month is unto you. Not unto everybody, unto you. The beginning. This is the way God, this is the Sabbath. So you have to understand when God is telling this is that, this to you. He's not saying that this is the first month in which I created the heavens and the earth. He's not saying that. Dios no está diciendo que este es el mes que yo hice los cielos y la tierra. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, depending on how you look at it, you could say, well, it had to be spring because God created everything. Was it spring? Or what? I mean, did Adam and Eve have to? The answer to that is easy, by the way. Was it spring is the question. Did Adam and Eve have to wait to eat fruit? So that answers that. But let's move on. We don't want to stay too much time on this. This month is unto you the beginning of the months. It is to you the first of the months of the year. Okay? Este es el primer mes del año para ustedes. Y the text here does not define the month of the Exodus, though other passages clarify that it is the month of Aviv. Exodus 13:4, 23:15, and so forth and so on. The word Aviv refers to a stage of ripening of the crops. Okay, Exodus 9:31. It's a stage of ripening. So es un tiempo de que algunos frutas están madurándose. Es un fase de madurez. Okay, so it's not the beginning of the growing season either. Tampoco es el principio del mes de sembrar, sino ya hay fruta. Okay, so there should be already fruit in the land. Suggested that the month of Abib is sometime in the spring, yet the Torah does not clarify exactly when this month or any other month of the year begins and ends. That is rather strange. Even they strange. You see, I'm not the one only pointing these things out. Yo no soy el único que está hoy hablando de estas cosas. Estas son realidades que conocen los judíos. Because they've been living with this forever. Los judíos, the Jews know this because they've been living with this type of stuff forever. These inconsistencies, these issues. So this is something that the Jews know about. Severe punishments are prescribed for those who transgress the festivals. Yet, we are not told how the calendar works. Así que son las cosas importantes. These are important things, aren't they? I mean, you get a stone, you get killed. You don't do these things the right way. It's a big issue, right? You get kicked out of the people, but then you're not given the calendar. Entonces no te están dando el calendario fijo. No tienen. And thus the dates when these festivals are supposed to fall. This ambiguity is highlighted by a debate between two medieval commentators about whether the Torah assumes a lunar or solar calendar. Entonces aquí el único comprobante de este asunto viene de los tiempos medievales. Imagínense, medievales. Sobre si el calendario hebreo es solar o si es lunar. Y aquí tiene ese debate entre estos dos personas. This is between Yehuda Aparsi and Abraham ibn Ezra. I don't know if they're doing their name justice. I'm still practicing the Hebrew, so I'll be giving you guys that, and when we do our Hebrew classes there. All right. So he says here that Yehuda, the Persian, said the Israelites used a solar calendar. That's his perspective, and their months were solar months, like the non-Israelites do. His proof is from Exodus 13:10. It says, "Keep this statute, matzot pesach, at its appointed time, since lunar years are not even, since the days of plowing and harvest are dependent only on the movement of the sun, on its moving northward or southward." So Yehuda Aparsi would have had in mind something similar to the Julian calendar, the ancestor of our Gregorian calendar, 365-day year with an additional leap day every 4 years. Because even with our calendar, we have leap years. We have to add days too. Okay. Abraham ibn Ezra polemicizes vehemently against him and attempts to demonstrate that the calendar of the Bible is lunar. Estos son dos señores de medieval que están en debate entre la luna, si el calendario era lunar o solar. El de Parisi, Yehuda, dice que Éxodo 13:10 habla de guardar esta estatua a su tiempo asignada, y eso que quiere decir es por el sol, porque el sol es más estable como para asignar las fechas que la luna. La luna no es estable, no es algo que se puede tener tiempo asignadas. Por eso él dice así. El otro dice que el calendario hebreo es lunar, pero usa como prueba, ¿sabe qué cosa? La tradición oral otra vez. You see, here we go. So what Ibn Ezra uses as proof, he falls back on the claim that the ultimate reason we know that the lunar calendar is correct is from oral tradition. The thing I was talking about before with the oral tradition now. See that? So, for the Torah does not have the rules of determining a year explicit. So how can we calculate the months? Rather, this demonstrates that Moses relied on the oral law. See? So in short, arguing that one calendar or another is the one used in the Bible is no easy task, since the Bible makes no explicit statement about its nature. Okay, so this apply again is confirmation that everything I've been saying up to now is absolutely correct. No, this is not debatable. Esto no se puede debatir. Aquí está confirmando lo que dije todo este programa de hoy, que es absolutamente correcto. La Biblia no dice nada explícito sobre este asunto. Now, in the Jewish tradition, the calendar is lunar, with the months beginning at the new moon. Years are made up 12 such months, but sometimes a 13th month is added to keep up with the seasons, ensuring the Passover is celebrated in the spring, Sukkot in the fall. Again, another month is added. Somebody said to me, but we add the months that the lunar always begins the month, but that doesn't determine the day. Yeah, but when you add the month, you are adding days automatically. So you are pushing. How many days are you going to add? I mean, how many days are you going to add? Because it's always going to push the Shabbat or bring up the Shabbat. Don't you see how the problem begins to ensue here? Usted no entiende que que cuando se añade un mes para acomodar los tiempos, pues entonces, ¿cuántos días tiene ese mes que tú vas a añadir? Porque eso va a cambiar el Shabbat. Simple. Por eso viene añadiendo días o quitando días. Such a lunar calendar is already assumed by Philo of Alexandria and his special laws, and of course in rabbinic literature. But long before them, it is already implicit in Ben Sirach, early 2nd century before the Christian era, who describes the moon as an indicator at times, a sign of the festival after whom the month is named, right? And so he implies that a lunar calendar in which most festivals fall on the full moon being the dark, right? Identifying with the Babylonian lunar calendar. So it goes on here. Esto sigue hablando ahora de el calendario lunar de los babilónicos. Otra vez, eso consta en lo que se llama el calendario hebreo de hoy, lo que usan los judíos hoy. Now here we have a 364-day calendar. The book of the Jubilee, 2nd century BC, holds a calendar of 365 days, 1 day less than a solar calendar and about 10 days longer than an average lunar year. Moreover, its months do not correspond to lunar phases and do not begin at the new moon. It is also explicitly polemicizes against those who follow the lunar calendar, which is also something some Hebrew roots people are doing. Algunos de los raíces hebreas están también en contra de que los meses se usan que empiezan en la nueva luna como este calendario aquí. So they're actually promoting or espousing this type of treatment. There will be people who carefully observe the moon with lunar observations because it is corrupt with respect to the seasons and is early from year to year by 10 days. Therefore, years will come about for them when they will disturb, there will be years, they will disturb the year and make a day of testimony something worthless, and a profane day a festival, which will what would happen. When you add days, you're going to shift days off. Usted cuando está añadiendo, quitando días, usted va a estar moviendo días fuera del orden tradicional, por la tradición oral sería. Y entonces va a profanar la ley. So you're going to profane the law by moving and shifting days. But then all the calendars do that. No resolve the fact that all the calendars will cause you to profane the days. The Dead Sea Scrolls dating from the 2nd century BCE to the 1st century Christian era only know of this 364-day calendar, and thus at Qumran. All the biblical festivals are dated according to this non-lunar and equally non-solar schematic calendar. The origins of this 364-day scheme are unclear, but since the Bible does not explain how its calendar works, it would not have been difficult for anyone to contradict the Jubilee's Qumran tradition. Esto es una traducción del Qurán que tiene un calendario muy distinto que lo tradicional hebrea, pero está diciendo que como la Biblia no especifica, sería muy difícil que alguien debatiera, ¿no? Alguien traía argumento en contra de este calendario, porque no tienen base bíblico para establecer uno. Ese es el punto. Despite the lack of any explicit indication in the Bible, Jewish commentators attempted to deduce the nature of the calendar from clues they found in the text, appointed times. Okay, so basically, what it says here, it's going to go here and it's going to say that God said that the Bible says He made the moon for appointed times. Que hizo Dios la luna para los tiempos afijados. Let me get that in Spanish. Let's see what this says in Spanish. Voy a mirar lo que dice en español esto. Vamos a ver. I'll see how this thing translates this into Spanish. Probably not the correct. Yeah, I believe that's the way it says it in the Bible. Hizo la luna para los tiempos señalados. ¿Ok? Señalado. Señalados. Entonces, está diciendo eso en Salmo 104:19. So he made the moon for appointed times. Then it says, this is, by the way, Hebrew poetry. So you have to understand how to understand this. Then he says the sun knows its setting. When you realize that the moon doesn't have its own light, entiende que la luna no tiene su propia luz. Tú puedes entender esto que el sol tiene sabe su morada, o sea que sabe cuando there's a word for this and I forget it because I don't use it that much. Cuando se pone, el sol sabe cuando se pone. El hecho es que la luz de la luna es la luz del sol que conoce cuando se pone. So la relación aquí. So the relationship here is interesting because the psalm is actually stating what it's actually saying is, or at least one of the arguments is, that the lunar things are really based on the sun. The sun is the one that gives the light anyway. Without the sun's light, you would have no lunar anything to establish any festival days. Right? Everything's being run by the fact that the sun is the light. So que todo está siendo hecho real o posible porque la luz del sol es la luz verdadera, no la luna. So hay que entender esa cosa, pero todas las fiestas están basadas en la luna. Pero la luz real no es la luna, es el sol del día. So that's the basic phenomena that's going on. This whole article is very good and gets into gets more into this problem. But to finish, because I'm getting tired, you hear my voice fading, is to go into this area now here. What Torah actually does say about the earliest measurement of months and days. And if you look, there is a reference in the book of Genesis. And it says here, the importance of this information is that the exact day on which the fountains of the deep were broken up and the windows of heaven were opened, 7:11. And the exact day on which the waters abated, 8:3-4. The importance of this information is this: the flood began on the 17th day of the second month. El diluvio empezó en el día 17 del segundo mes y terminó and was over by el día 17 del séptimo mes of the seventh month, 8:4. That makes 5 months of 30 days duration each, which Genesis stresses by adding the day count. Notice what Jehovah did. So Yahweh did provide some calendarization. Así que Jehová proveyó algo de calendario y especificó que en 5 meses los días fueron 150. That means that what this article is saying, and let me put this back over here. This is the ICR.org, Institute of Creation Research, Calendar, Antiquity, and Genesis. What this is proving or showing him is saying that the Bible provides the proof of something very, very important. Que la Biblia provee prueba de algo muy, muy importante. ¿Y qué es? Que los días antes de diluviano eran meses de 30 días, period. What it's saying is that what the Bible is showing proof of is that the days before the flood, or the months before the flood, comprised of 30 days each. Now, what it means is not the calendar, but the actual movement of the earth and the moon and around the orbit of the sun was actually everything was 30 days clockwork. But after the flood, it wasn't. Así que antes del diluvio, 30 días cada mes. 30 días cada mes. Pero después del diluvio, cambió. Eso es lo que la evidencia bíblico establece o presenta. Que había antes del diluvio un tiempo definido, 30 días por mes. La luna, eso estamos hablando no de calendario, estamos hablando de actualmente que la luna y la tierra girando y todo, 30 días cada mes. Pero que después del diluvio no era así. Now, ¿cuándo fue la ley dada? When was the law given is the question you have to ask. See, you have to ask the question because then you have to realize that even if Jehovah had given the days directly from Genesis 2:2-3 through Exodus 16, it wouldn't matter because the days were shifting scientifically, and now we have biblical evidence that everything became shifted and out of the previous sequence. It's there in the Bible now. It's there. So again, is the Sabbath day given to the Jews, given to Israel, is that the Genesis 2:2-3 Sabbath day? It cannot possibly be. There's no way possible for it to be. Neither is it desired by Yahweh for you to even think that it is. It's not his desire because that's his Shabbat, that's his rest. And, and his day of his wrath, you shall not enter into it. It is still something that is separate, almost like the Garden of Eden, where it's separate. You cannot enter into it. Es como el jardín de Edén, tú no puedes entrar en ella. El Shabbat de Jehová es algo que si Jehová no está irado con uno, no entrará en su reposo. Punto. Está separado, no está accesible. And here we have, hay ciencia, ahora Génesis comprueba que los días van cambiando y todo está fuera de un control, un equilibrio que se puede establecer días y confianza de que este día es el igual que los primeros, segundo, tercer, cuarto, quinto. You just can't do it. It's not possible. Okay, so what this teaches us is that it's a silly argument, really. For any person who keeps the Sabbath, first of all, to think that they are in the seventh day period Yom, that the same that God created his Shabbat. First of all, you cannot establish that. No es posible que una persona piense que está en el Shabbat de Jehová que hizo en Génesis 2 y 3, cuando está haciendo su Shabbat, su sábado, no se puede establecer. Eso no es la enseñanza bíblica. And so that's a mistake. Exodus 28, you have to remember that remember does not mean that Saturdays is the Sabbath. It only means that that's what you're supposed to do, is to remember Genesis 2:2-3, que hay que acordarse de Génesis 2:12-3. because it is not in fact the Sabbath day, porque no es en sí el día Shabbat de Jehová, no es. Solo se puede acordar de Génesis de cuando Jehová Shabbat, cuando Jehová descansó. That's all you can do. And that's all that's possible. And even today, even your Sabbaths every 1400 years are shifting because calendar is shifting. You're moving a whole month in 9,300 years. That means in 1,400 years, you move to Shabbat. Basically, every 200 years, the Shabbat day is shifted. That's what it means. One day. Así que el Shabbat se mueve por un día cada 200 años. And that's with the calendar the Hebrews have now. Y eso es con el calendario que los hebreos tienen. Nosotros, el calendario gregorio, también se mueve. So it's a silly notion. In other words, can you have possible the day, the exact 7-day period that Jehovah rested? And the answer to that is once every 9,300 years. Una vez por 200 años. Cada 9,300 años ahora, usted llega a ser el sábado el mismo séptimo día que el cual hizo Jehová el sábado. That's it. That's it. Pero también el domingo por 200 años. Take care. God bless you. Also Sunday for 200 years is the actual Shabbat day. Okay, so stop the fighting, guys. Use your brain. God bless you. Take care. Until next time.